Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth that you can hear will set you free. Okay, it's kind of fun. We're talking about taking back control. Okay, literally, because if you're feeling out of control, and today was kind of cool. Our master said that you no longer need a mask on an airplane. And they didn't look at any of the data. It's just, this is how you train an animal. You give a little leash, but pull it back. The leash, pull it back. Yeah, so we'll be trained. Kids today, if they've gone through our health protocols, and this is one of the frustrating things, they will have behavioral, bowel, breathing, or skin issues. There's virtually no kid going through the process that we have raising our kid. What's unusual is this is not common for our species. Now, the censored portion is going to be put on, if you're watching it on Dr. PVIP, it'll go on uninterrupted, because in the world of censorship, there's certain information that our government won't allow. And our government is literally working with YouTube and Facebook and everyone else to change the world in their image. So thank you for who's ever supporting Dr. PVIP. I really appreciate it, because YouTube has demonetized us. They've shadow banned us. They've done everything except kick us off yet. So we are on Library, Rumble. Rumble's really cool. I switched to that one. The Dr. John Bergman one, the Dr. BVIP is like the best because we have a lot of special guests on there. But Extreme Health Academy, I'm going to be on there this coming Sunday for a 2-hour webinar. And we get callers in from all around the world. And it's really cool because people have had very, very severe health challenges and found successes. And we pool our knowledge base there. So this is the tools that you need to survive in an unstable world. For one, you cannot depend on the government. Okay, and there's a paternalization of the government. And so you got to have a balanced view of events. So if you are super excited that, oh my gosh, our master said that we don't need to fly a plane with a mask on, understand that that is just a temporary thing. There's no laws passed that they can't enact this again. But just don't have a fear about it. It is what it is. Prepare in advance for food. This just makes sense. Because if there's any interruption in transportation, there's only 3 days worth of food. And don't think about yourselves. Get food and water enough for others so that we can help others, because we are all the same community. And develop skills, know basic first aid, getting good enough health so that you can walk a distance in case there's no gas. Take charge of your mental status. And this means healthy nutrients. But also, too, we're going to talk about reprogramming your brain, mindstorming, goal setting. Check out our videos on that. Take charge of your own health. I mean, literally, if you're, because you're going to find out our society for the last 50 years is built on a pharmaceutical basis where you have an ill, we got a pill. Okay. And this has created the sickest society the world's ever known. So if you're taking a prescription, if you have a doctor that's giving you a chemical to alter your physiology, find out why you're taking it. I mean, if you've had your thyroid destroyed by the medical system, then you're going to need a full ground up pig thyroid. Okay, if you are type 1 diabetic, you're going to need some insulin. But the other ones, for joint pain and this and that destroys, it's a cycle of incredibly stupid. But the doctors are trained by the pharmaceutical industry. So if you're taking a prescription, find out why the guy gave it to you. Find out what physiologic processes. And at the end of this, you're going to want to find out why. And make decisions based on long-term outcomes. Plant food now. Okay, plant food now. Don't wait till the grocery stores are empty. It takes a while to harvest. Now, fundamental scientific truths. These are facts. These are stuff you can chisel in stone. All living things, including humans, we're self-healing, self-regulating ecosystems. And think of that. If your body is an ecosystem, that means you're thousands of years old. What could we do to the ecosystem of, say, the Amazon? You want to add fertilizer there? How about pesticides? What can you do to the Amazon ecosystem to make it function better? Nothing. It's already functioning correctly. Okay. So health is consistent homeostatic self function. All your health is works on this. So this means that if you have a cold, if you drop a brick on your foot and that inflammation creates massive pain, that's functioning correctly. Okay, so it's not lack of pain is health. It's appropriate self function. Sickness is lack of health, just like darkness is a lack of light. And one of my most brilliant instructors said, you see the darkness up in there, that corner? It doesn't exist. Darkness is just lack of light. So sickness is your body's lack of ability to adapt. I mean, you can't brush that darkness out of the corner no more than you can, brush the illness or disease out with a drug. But you can measure photons of light. So when we look at this, the function of our cells determines our state of health and sickness and adaptation. Nearly all improper cell functions are from environmental stressors. That means physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress limit your body's ability to adapt. And you can divide these into deficiencies or toxicities. Fundamental truths. The problem is, now this book I totally recommend, okay? And it is hours. It is just, brilliantly written, but I'm telling you, the detail is ad nauseum, but thank God he did it. Okay, Mr. Kennedy, just brilliant. 50 years we've been in a pharmaceutical approach. Now, this is regulatory capture. The people that build the drugs do the testing for the drugs. They pay the FDA and the CDC to review the drugs, and then they pay the government campaign contributions to have the drugs approved. So when you get a drug like Vioxx that killed more people than the Vietnam War, who went to jail? Nobody, because it went through the whole regulatory process. Then if you have an incredibly dangerous drug or medical procedure that we can't talk about, did I just want to make sure you got that? Okay, good. Okay, that we can't talk about. You take away all the liability because you're taking away most of the testing. Okay, but he describes in there how the industry that's designed to be regulated had captured their the people that are supposed to regulate them. I mean, just brilliant. Okay, but we are the sickest of the first world nations. Now, this article, and I've used this before. This is 9 years ago. So 9 years ago plus 35, that's 44 years ago. So it's kind of 50 years, right? Okay. Over the past 35 years, a largely hidden epidemic of side effects from drugs that have usually few offsetting benefits. The pharmaceutical industry has corrupted the practice of medicine through its influence over what drugs are developed and how they are tested and how medical knowledge is created. You're talking 2,500 people a week minimum from the right drug at the right time. We're looking at, and this is a brilliant article just published a few years ago. Our prescription drugs are the third leading cause of death after heart disease, cancer in the United States. So remember last year, and the year before, how you were being trained and programmed like good people, okay, with the ticker tape going along the bottom of the TV set, kind of like the scores in a football game. Okay, how many people died? How many people cases? How many people died? Come on, got to keep the panic up. Did they say 650,000 people a year die from cancer? Okay, that maybe you should start eating organic? Did they say 660,000 people a year are dying from heart disease? So maybe exercise, diet, nutrition, and juicing would be good. So you're talking over 1.2 million people die from those two diseases. Did they say the third leading cause of death after that was prescription drugs? That perhaps, you know what they say, and this is, I think it was Bill Maher, but the commercials, the drug commercials, he says when exercise and diet don't work, that always works. Okay, not for everything. You might have to look at the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors too. But this is incredibly. The third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer is the prescription drug industry. And this is something that because the medical industry, the hospitals, the insurance companies, everybody has been taken over to give you a drug, a pill for your ill. So let's break it down. I mean, we've got three stressors: physical, chemical, and emotional. But I mean, this first one, even though this is fact, 72 doses of 17 different shots by the time you're 18, with no studies on that, you know, physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. Your body responds the same to all three. It's 100%. If I stand on your foot, does that cause you pain? No, you're right. If you're type 1 diabetic, you have no feeling in your feet. It won't hurt. You're right, doc. God, there's always one in a crowd. Okay. If you're in a normal physiologic state and I stand on your foot, it causes pain. So that elevates the heart rate. It shuts blood supply down to the gut. This is a normal response. So here's where we have to start taking back our charge. You cannot abdicate authority over your health to a pharmaceutically trained rep, literally a drug Pez dispenser. Okay, doctor, my blood pressure is this. Here you go. I got that pill. You're going to be fine. I mean, it's insane. Number one, accepting full responsibility for our thoughts and our actions. Making the distinction between these two areas of our life stops us wasting our time and energy on what we can't change, at the same time helping us focus on the areas of life that we can. How many people here know a victim? Ah, it runs in my family. You know, it's what runs in your family. So your species, you're the end result of 1,000 generations that had to survive plagues and being chased by a tiger and everything else. You're the epitome of these thousands of generations in you. And now you're telling me that you have high cholesterol or your joints are destroyed or something that's never happened to anyone in your lineage? No. And oh my God, what you said made me feel so bad. That's ridiculous. I'm choosing to feel bad based on what you're going to say. I mean, that's ridiculous. So we take responsibility. The stuff you can't change, okay, like when you see someone wearing a face covering and they happen to be 7 years old, okay, and you know it's not helping them, it's doing nothing but psychological and physiologic harm. Thoughts, opinions, and beliefs of other people, we can't control that. The economy, job market, political climate. Anyone in charge of that? Your body. You know, you can do things with your body. You can exercise it, treat it right, work it out. But let me tell you, okay, if you're 6'5", you're not going to be 5'6". Okay, we got certain limitations on this body. Okay, age, hunger, desire, emotions. These really can't. Now, you are responsible for your actions, thoughts, beliefs, and decisions. And this goes into every level of slavery. Now, this is from our Stoic talk. And Stoicism was literally started by the most brilliant slave ever. Emotional, physical, and chemical activate your automatic nervous system. One part keeps you alive under stress. The other part regenerates tissue. In the last 2.5 years, if your government actually cared about you, they would not be trying to stimulate panic, because a perception of your environment alters how your body can adapt. That means that your ecosystem, which is your body, if you're under physical, chemical, or emotional stress, you go into fight or flight mode. You go into, oh my gosh, I can't break this tissue down. Okay, your tissue production is a big problem. Now, multiple journal articles say it doesn't matter the etiology, it doesn't matter where the disease comes from. Autonomic dysfunction, that means a chronic sympathetic dominant state or a low functioning parasympathetic. How your body, how your ecosystem is functioning is at the core of every chronic critical illness, every illness. So if you're presented, and we do it at this office all the time, you know, you're never going to see someone with cancer that says, God, I slept great. Never. It's not possible. Okay, if you're drugged out, yeah, you were stoned and knocked out, but you got to look at your body. When you're in a stress state, it's a tissue production problem. I just had a patient today Do you see cancer in that? Do you see cancer in that? Okay. And she was 65. And I didn't want to tell her that 50% of everybody over 50 has cancerous tumors in their body that never have an issue. 70% of everybody over 70, 80% of everybody over 80. Your body forms these tumors to wall off toxins. So it's really not the end result of a disease process. You want to look at the process that causes it. But she is a nurse. So what was she taught? Oh, it's the demon attacking you. Okay. Mineral depletion, pesticides, glyphosates, which is most popular herbicide out there, fluoride, medication, vaccines. This is the environment that you are not designed to live in. Your great-great-grandparents would look at this and go, my God, the world doesn't smell good. It doesn't taste good. How do you survive in it? And you would look them straight in the eye and say, we're not. Okay, we're losing fertility. We're losing life expectancy. Life expectancy is falling. It fell in the last 2 years. I think it fell 4 years. Now, in 1936, they had a Senate document that said the soils were being depleted. And this is 1936, 90 years ago. And so that means without minerals, you can't utilize vitamins. So you need minerals. Like when you get a standard mineral supplement from, the standard pharmacy, it's literally iron ore. It's probably magnetic, but you need a plant to draw the copper, selenium, zinc, the 125 minerals out of the nutrient-rich soil that ionizes it so you can absorb it. Pesticides, okay, increasing the risk of Parkinson's disease. Why? Because a lot of them are neurotoxic. Those who were heavily exposed to pesticides had a 41% increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease. No, I never get pesticides, but I do go down to In-N-Out Burger and get the burger. Okay, the burger's got antibiotics. The bread is soaked with glyphosates because it increases production. Oh, Anthony Fauci, the 50 years, if we had a Food and Drug Administration that was actually looking for your health, would they be looking into the soil? Okay, how rich that soil is? Would they be looking at the negative effects? Knowing that glyphosates is a mineral chelator and you can't utilize vitamins without minerals? Would they be looking into how best to reverse disease and help your body be healthy? No, it's all control of symptoms. Glyphosates, depression, autism, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, birth defects, DNA damage. And this is just the most popular herbicide on the planet, okay, produced by our companies without liability. Okay, funded by the government who forces the farmers to use this stuff. This is a cycle of stupid, okay, that we have to break out. And we only are going to participate in this if we have no thought. Okay, we have to take it back. The government isn't going to do it. The industry isn't going to do it. And I love Dr. Hubert's quote here. We pretty much sacrificed an entire generation of children. The longer we go on, the more damage that's going to accumulate. Fluoride in the water? What idiot came up with this? Yeah, while you drink it, while it passes by your teeth, the fluoride might help. Okay, yeah, it also causes brain damage. Okay, you're soaking your plants in it. What does that do to the soil? And it's a poison in the water system. Of course, if you use fluoridated water in aluminum cooking pots, you increase the toxic effect about 600 parts per million. It's linked to Alzheimer's, neurologic diseases, and AIDS. Don't worry, in our country, we now have a 1-in-1 dementia rate. That means 100% of people are going to get it. And it's not really 100%, it's like 99 point something, because there's still some people that are not doing drugs, they're eating right, and they're exercising. I know, that's crazy, man. But you're looking, they're acting like your great-grandparents. That's what we all got to do. Stress, medical definition. Any adverse stimulus, physical, mental, emotional. I would put chemical in there as well. Now, this is brilliant. The biomedicine, the model where you have a symptom, we give you a pill. Think of joint pain. What are they going to give you? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, Advil, Motrin, Aleve. It destroys the building block of cartilage, causes 20% of all heart attacks, damages the kidneys. But don't worry, when you get on dialysis, they've got a machine for that. Okay, when your joints are destroyed because you can't build you don't have the proteoglycan production from taking the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, they can replace the joint. But then you have an artificial limb in there, putting you under chronic stress, creating a systemic inflammation. Then your blood becomes thick, so because that's viscosity under pain. Then you're misdiagnosed with high blood pressure. So then they give you a blood pressure pill that lowers your blood pressure, except that also lowers oxygen of the brain. Then that causes balance issues. And this is common. This is psychotic. Okay, so it doesn't. The framework currently doesn't look at the social, the psychological, behavior, or dimension of illness. When we talk about anybody that comes in here, anybody, and I don't care if they got back pain, diabetes, cancer, they have physical, chemical, emotional stress. And those conditions that they're experiencing are adaptations to those stressors. Now, all of this goes to the brain. All of this goes to the brain. Your perceptions and physical translate into that small brain in the back. Now, this is only 10% of the brain surface area, that's cerebellum, 80% of the neurons. 80% of the neurons. This means every stimulus, every movement that you get goes to that cerebellum. This is why we give cross-crawl exercises to everybody with frontal lobe issues or brain issues, because you stimulate that cerebellum through movement. And you're the first generation, maybe second generation. How much movement are they getting? Okay, you're at a desk, staring at a computer screen. How much movement are you getting? Not a hell of a lot of cerebellar stimulation. So we're seeing cognitive aspects decline rapidly. I mean, frontal lobe, and remember that cerebellum controls the frontal lobe. You're like an anxiety, stress, depression, impulse control. Oh, what did I just say? ADD, ADHD. So when kids come in, and honest to goodness, kids come in and their parents are saying, yeah, this, diagnosed with ADHD, ADD. He's got ADD. Oh, okay. How are you handling it? Well, we gave him some class 2 narcotics, prescription meth by order of the doctor. Oh, good. In a developing brain. Any long-term studies on that? No, but it really calms him down. Okay, now, so I asked the kid, I say, look, do your parents force you to play video games? Like, are you able to sit there for hours and pay attention to a video game? And he's looking at me like I've lost my mind. No, dude, I could play those for hours. Okay, well, you don't have a deficit of attention. You got a deficit of focus. Okay, you don't want to pay attention to stuff that you don't really value. That's called human. I'm going to show you how to get your brain working so that you can focus like a laser beam. Fear, false expectations appearing real. How many people have been so panicked from a condition that was about as bad as the flu? And then they're covering their face. They're doing all these ridiculous things. They're shutting down businesses. But then when you're sitting down, you can take your personal protective equipment off. When you stand up, you got to put it on. And they're doing this fear-based dance, which is insane. 50 years from now, they're going to go, oh my gosh, you can make people do anything. Okay. I could put a banana in a box and, your hand will be stuck in the box because you can't get let loose of the banana. What is that? The monkey trap? Okay. People will do anything. How much of the fear actually happened? Okay. Now, and I love this quote. This quote's from over 100 years ago. It's before 1900. Or late 1800s. The world we see that seems so insane is a result of a belief system that's not working. To perceive the world differently, we must be willing to change our belief systems, let the past slip away, expand our sense of now, and dissolve the fear in our mind. Wow. Okay, that's what we have the opportunity to do. We are not going to trust the pharmaceutical industry or the government or that new person that's going to be voted in. Why? Because they have to pay for their campaign, and campaigns are expensive, and the pharmaceutical industry will cover them. Terrorist. What? I love this one. What test do I take to see if I have? Okay. You know what I'll tell people? Assume you have it. Change your lifestyle now. Okay, you'll be able to be healthier. Okay, now the Stoic virtues. I love Stoicism because we are going to come up to a time where we're not going to have access to everything all at once. I mean, you can get on the phone and order caviar from Russia. You could order, vodka from Yugoslavia. You could order all this stuff and it'd be Uber delivered to you. Okay. That that's going to be a challenge. So wisdom, wisdom is to the ability to choose your response to the stimulus. Great. They just let the mask go away. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, they could always put it back because there wasn't any laws. It wasn't the people, it's the government telling you. Courage, ability to persevere. We've never closed. We've never closed. I put signs on the door saying, look, this is how the system works. Okay, I've educated patients on immune system and viral transmission. I'm not going to wear a hazmat suit. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, because it doesn't work. It's not effective. Okay, that human beings, 45% of your DNA is viral. Okay, this is ridiculous. Temperance, acting with discipline and self-control. This one I really need help on. Okay, but I'm getting better. Okay, yeah, self-control and discipline when somebody just drives me nuts. Justice, and this is super important. We are all related. Figure everybody in here had 4 grandparents. Those 4 grandparents had 4 grandparents. Those 4 grandparents had 4 grandparents. You go back 200 years, you go back 300 years, you're talking millions of people. And you go back 500 years, there's not enough people on the planet. So there's a lot of intermarrying. So when we say brother, sister, friend, we're more related than you could possibly imagine. Now, even the CDC says 85% of all diseases are caused by emotions. Why? Because that's an autonomic function. Now, emotions are in your control. They really are. Okay, you can't control the event, but you can control your response. And I love this. 90% of doctors' visits in the USA are triggered by stress-related illness. Not in the last 2 years. That was triggered by the mandates. Okay. Locking you in your home, preventing you from seeing your friends. Okay, yeah, that would do it. Okay. So what do you fear? Do you fear World War III? Yeah. Do you fear, all this insanity coming back, economic collapse? Don't worry about economic collapse. The printing presses are still working. That's some people. You know, it doesn't make sense. Okay, now when you think of a feeling, and I love this definition, what's a feeling? A feeling is an experience that you're associating with it. So if I show you a picture of a stuffed animal, okay, you could say, "Oh my God, that's horrible." Okay, that I remember I was smothered by a stuffed animal. Okay, so that your association with that stuffed animal is going to be fear and choking and heart rate and everything else. Or I could show you a stuffed animal and you'd think, "Oh my God, how cute! I want to cuddle with that." Okay, but it's not the stimulus; it's your association with it. Um, how are you feeling? I'm consciously aware of being emotionally involved with an idea or memory. You're looking at the stuffed animal. I've moved into a neuronal firing that is producing a chemical response. So my body is actually living a past memory right now called a feeling. And that's true. You see someone that gives you a memory of something joyous, like if we're walking down the street and you're right next to me and we see a dark alley, what are you thinking? I'm thinking, damn, I'm pretty well trained. I'm going to go down that alley. I'm going to practice. Okay. Or that doesn't look real safe. I think I'll just keep walking. Okay, so each one, anxiety or excitement, it's all based on your perception. Now, if you have consistent, and this is how the neurons in the brain work, if the brains fire together, so like if you're always practicing tennis, you get better at it. If you're always practicing anxiety and stress, you get better at it. Okay, if you're always practicing joy and creativity, you get better at it. Okay, so nerves that fire together wire together. Now, if you're in consistent anxiety and stress, and this is what I tell people. I mean, I had one patient that said I couldn't walk at all, and okay, well, what did you do? Just drive to the beach? Well, no, I walked to the wet sand. Okay, that's about 100 yards. Yeah, but I was sore. Okay, I appreciate that. You know, you've had a lot of injuries. Okay, cool. But don't lie to me and tell me you didn't walk at all, because what are you going to do? Just stand there and go, I'm just going to stare at the ground now. No, you know, words have power. So you're creating those neuronal firings of even though you walked 100 yards. And I'll tell people, man, if you can walk 5 minutes or if you can walk 20 feet, do it 4 times a day. Okay, you'll get better at it. Now, the balanced perspective, this is huge. There is never anything completely horrible negative. There's never anything completely pure and beautiful. I mean, if you want to talk religion, okay, we'll talk philosophy. But I'm talking about, do you remember that girl or guy that you were looking at in high school that you really, really liked? You were totally blind of any negatives. Okay? Has anyone gone on a date and that person was perfect until they opened their mouth? Okay. No, it's just me. Okay. Okay. So what you do is you put all the good on one side, okay, all the bad on the other, because there is nothing one-sided. Okay. Now, mastery of life is when you spin that top and you can see both sides at once. So you see life for what it is. Okay. What, shutting down churches. Okay. Is that all bad? Okay. Well, I miss people, but it made me have that appreciation. Okay, limiting my travel. Okay, it makes me appreciate travel more. Okay, so there's all sorts of things, but that balanced perspective, when you're in an instant where you feel powerless and helpless because of a circumstance that they just shut down your business or they're just going to force you to get a medical procedure without informed consent. Okay, because they'll do that now. I mean, it's not, that Bill of Rights that were given to you by God, okay, that couldn't be separated from you. Yeah, yeah, it's up to you to take those back. So you spin that top, and then you can see the truth. Now, whatever you hold in your mind will occur in your life. This is act as if. If you want to be healthy, you want to be dynamic, but you can't move, then deep breathe, do some exercises. Okay, change your sleep pattern, change the nutrients you have in there. Do 10 minutes a day of doing neurolinguistic programming to reprogram your brain. There are things that you can do. I've got patients that are quadriplegics, and by gosh, how's your breathing today? Okay, how's your breathing? I mean, there's so much. Continue to act as you have, and you will continue to get what you've always gotten. Yeah, it's time we change to realize that you are in charge of your emotions, you're in charge of your body, you are in charge of your life, you're in charge of your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions. So when you feel powerless, by God, you are the most powerful being in your world. Now, it's fun because I chose her because she has a nasty face. Technically, probably pretty, but would you want to go out to dinner with her? I don't think so. Okay. And think of this, the thought, okay, thoughts literally create those nerves inside your brain to fire. That firing is going to produce a chemical. So I could say joy, I could say happiness, I could say sadness, I could say envy. These are all chemicals secreted by how your brain perceives the environment. And your body is going to have a physiologic response: bewildered, irritated, aggravated, heartbroken, overwhelmed. Yeah, yeah. Yes, dear, you're all of those. Okay. Now, this girl I would go to dinner with. Okay, look at that joy. Oh my gosh, my soul smiles with that smile. I mean, and then what do you get? Thoughts and feelings. What do you feel? I'm looking at this gal who's seen the world. Okay, my neurons are firing as saying, wow, excitement and love and appreciation that she's got this joy after living a full life. Okay, I mean, this is beautiful. And that's what it's based on your perception. Now, neurolinguistic programming is fantastic. I like it because you don't have to believe it. You're not BSing yourself. Okay, you just do it over and over. It's like practicing tennis. You don't have to feel the ball. You just do it over and over and you get better at it. Okay. And this is the same way. It involves body posture. Why body posture? Because that changes the influence into the cerebellum. Cerebellum controls the frontal lobe. Okay, why breathing? Well, breathing, that little brain, 3-pound brain burns 90% of the body's oxygen, 30% of the body's calories. Breathing is hugely important, volume and intonation. And you say, I am. If you've read the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, there's a story in the front of that that's really, really cool. This Moses is on this hill. Burning Bush has given him some fantastic information. And he says, Bush, this is great. What do I call you? I can build a society on this. I am that I am. So it's Moses code as well. So I am healthy. I am dynamic. I am vibrant. I am strong. I am healed. You do it over and over and over. Because right now, if you're in stress and anxiety, like you have been for the last 2 years, okay, if you've been watching television, okay, if you're excitement, if you're like a prepper and you've got all this stuff, you've been planning for this for years, so you're kind of excited. Okay, baby, I'm down with that. Here, toss me a beer. No, I mean, I heard a comedian the other day that was just a riot. He said, we'll never get invaded because we have rednecks. And, they've been planning for this for years. Okay, so just do it over and over, repetition. Okay, your brain can relearn. And I mean, this is there's multiple studies that the brain can alter physiology. Here's a study out of Japan where this group of people were allergic to it's a plant similar to poison ivy. And so what they did is they put the poison ivy on one. It's not poison ivy, but it's a plant similar. And then they put a leaf that didn't have any reaction on the other. And sure enough, 100% of the people developed a rash on this. What they didn't tell the people is they changed the leaves. So they had to suppress an immune system response on the arm that was actually infected, and they had to express a reaction on the arm that wasn't. Okay, so your mind can do it. Your body, you can create, you literally create your physiology based on your perception. Now, I love this. So breathing exercise, absolutely fantastic. And why? Because the brain works. So if you're in a stressful circumstance, somebody is insulting you, cover your nose, sir. Actually, your nose is really good looking. Your nose, well, no. Aren't you glad? Aren't you done with that? Okay, just checking. Okay, I am. Okay, breathing, okay, is hugely important. But when you're breathing, diaphragmatic breathe. So breathing in through the nose, and the diaphragm comes down, tummy comes out. Blow out through the mouth. Now, breathing in through the nose creates nitric oxide. It opens up the blood vessels, opens up the lungs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 7, and then blow out to a count of 8. But typically, you're going to breathe in half as long as you breathe out, or breathe out twice as long as you breathe in. But do this before you go to bed. Do this when you get up. Do this when you're brushing your teeth. And then be careful, because it's going to be full of foam and it goes all over the mirror. But do it several times throughout the day. What if you have a neurologic condition? Parkinson's, MS. Will breathing help you? Yeah. What if you have joint pain? I'm getting rid of acid. That's carbon dioxide. Breathing is one of the healthiest things you can do. Multiple books on breathing. Okay, you're breathing, you're alkalinizing your system when you're breathing. Of course, if you wanted to damage somebody, you might tell them to cover their face so they breathe in their own exhalation. Yeah, that'll never happen. Okay, so what do you need? A balanced view of events. So put all the stuff you think is bad on one side, good on the other side, and spin that top and see both sides. Get that wisdom of the masters, that there isn't that good or bad judgment. Prepare in advance. Be prepared. Okay. I mean, they say when you're sailing, when you need to reef the sails, it's already too late. And trust me, I've been there. That boat heels over and you're climbing up. It's scary. Prepare first. Much better. Take charge of your old mental status. Why? Because you are the only one that you could be in charge of. And I would choose nobody better in the world than you to be in charge of you. Honest to goodness. Take charge of your own health. That means you are responsible. You don't abdicate authority over a prescription Pez dispenser. Hi, doctor, what do I have? Well, according to this test. You know, gee, doc, I feel real good. Could you test me to make sure I'm good? Right. Make decisions based on long-term outcomes. Okay, we can take back our world, but we change the world by changing ourselves first. And that's very hard sometimes. But your ancestors, you are the, I could say you guys won the race. You were the fastest sperm. Okay, but okay, and I've told a couple of patients I'm cleaning up the humor, so I think that's okay. But you're the end result of 1,000 generations. I mean, to get here, you've survived every kind of hardship known, and you've experienced every joy. Okay, you've experienced, birth and death and life, and I mean, I see it every day when I'm working with my plants. I mean, when I'm working with my patients, you see birth and everything. I mean, all the challenges and successes. The 5 keys to health. Your nervous system is what you live through, and you can control. You can put yourself in a parasympathetic state by thinking it. You can put yourself in a stress state by thinking it. Exercise, that's movement that stimulates the cerebellum that controls the frontal lobe, anxiety, stress, and depression. If you have any condition that you can't walk, do cross-crawl exercises. Just sit on a bench and swing your legs. If you can't swing your legs, like you have a one-sided stroke, okay, we'll literally have one person swing one leg and put a broomstick going down so they can move their arm and they'll move their leg. So you get that movement, symmetrical stimulation to the brain. Proper nutrition, it means you're all going to be eating like your great-great-grandparents. Of course, I could eat like my grandparents, but I'm looking at young people here. Okay. Sufficient rest. There's ways, look at our videos on how to reset your circadian rhythms and prayer meditation. This puts you in that sympathetic state or the parasympathetic state. If even if you don't have a belief system, okay, you are more energy than matter. Okay, look it up. Okay, and energy can't be created or destroyed. So connecting with that energy helps. If you have more of a basis in standard religion, man, God is cool. Okay, I mean, forget the flood and the Tower of Babel. Okay, generally, really, really cool. Okay, so now we're going to get into the regulatory capture. Okay, and we're going to get into some stuff that won't be allowed on the net. So if you're on YouTube and Facebook, God bless you, thank you. And if you're on Dr. BVIP, we'll go seamlessly through.